Coming up in the Bahamas tonight, the Ministry of Education's new plan to help students make the grade. The Attorney General's order brings a modern transition for attorneys, and why the F&M says St. Anne's and the electorate should stay with them. All those stories and more straight ahead in the Bahamas tonight.
Covering the islands of the Bahamas, ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight.
This portion of the news is brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
Good evening and welcome to the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report. I'm Keishla Adderley. Thanks for joining us. After years of dismal results in mathematics, the Ministry of Education is ready to launch a national comprehensive program that they expect will yield some big results in the future. The National Numeracy Program was launched at the C.H. Reeves Junior High School this morning, and education officials are hoping that by the time the students start using the program, they'll be making the grade. Clint Watson has details.
All of our students must be able to function mathematically in every aspect of our society and in the wider world.
Education Minister Desmond Bannister knows too well how many opportunities our talented and outstanding students have missed, either from attending colleges abroad or locally, simply because they were not proficient in core subjects like mathematics and English. In a quest to change this, the Ministry of Education is forming partnerships and have undertaken a massive review of the math curriculum.
It is time for us to develop a culture of accountability for standards and numeracy. It is our responsibility to identify the students who are at risk in the area of mathematics and provide ongoing remediation for them. Teachers, parents, if we do not do that, the risk that we expose these young people to is just too sad for me to even think about now.
There are 3 phases of initiatives that will be implemented immediately. They include the Math Stories for Problem-Solving Success, Family Math, and the Auto Skills Program. The primary goal of the team leading the numeracy initiative is to develop a world-class mathematics system,
with quality components aligned to produce mathematically literate individuals. We cannot be satisfied with the results of the past. We must cooperate, and we must share best practices within and across schools and districts.
It's no secret mathematics is all around us, and while some parents may shrug away from helping their kids because of their deficiencies, Minister Bannister is encouraging them to provide the necessary support.
The numeracy team has identified and analyzed the numeracy deficiencies in the mathematics program. Their purpose is to strengthen and to correct the program within the current educational system of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Once the program is implemented at all levels, the Minister of Education says we can expect to see improvement in mathematics on a national level. Clint Watson, ZNS News.
Students can now find out what tertiary-level institutions are available to them here at home, thanks to a special college mall put on by the newly formed Association of Tertiary Institutions in the Bahamas at the St. Joseph's Parish Center. The organization represents private local colleges, which are quickly becoming popular choices for Bahamians who choose to study at home. Education Minister Desmond Bannister, while officially opening the exhibit, encouraged senior high school students to take advantage of tertiary education by taking the first step and applying.
I want to encourage every one of you here to apply for financial aid, to be able to apply to our local institutions, to be able to get an education and that's important. We are going into a world where tertiary education is going to be critical.
Now, speaking to the institutions present, Minister Bannister revealed that the government is interested in enhancing the opportunities available through private institutions, but he says they must first find a way to break through the challenge of providing tertiary education to family island residents without them having to leave home.
One of the barriers to education we have in the Bahamas comes from the inability of many of our family island students to be able to get the quality of education that they would like to have, we'd like them to have at the tertiary level. And so where any of your institutions will seek to make those opportunities available in the Family Islands, or make them available through distance learning.
In crime news tonight, police are investigating a shooting which has left a man believed to be in his late 20s dead. The incident reportedly occurred around 8:40 last night on St. John's Avenue off Buttonwood Street in Pinewood Gardens. Head of the National Crime Prevention Office, Superintendent Stephen Dean, gave these details.
Upon arrival, police discovered the body of a male with multiple gunshot wounds about the body. The male appeared to be lifeless. The EMS came and examined the body and confirmed the same. What we can tell you, we are in the preliminary stages of investigations, and we don't have a motive, but we are asking members of the public who might be walking in this area, who might be driving to this area, anyone who might be related to the victim, so to speak, to give us some information. We need the help of members of the public to solve this crime, to bring the perpetrators to justice.
Now, this murder marks the 25th on record this year. If you have information that may be able to assist police, you're asked to contact them at 322-3333, the Central Detective Unit 502-9991, or Crime Stoppers at 328-TIPS. Police are also investigating a shooting last evening that has left a 38-year-old male resident of Fox Hill in hospital tonight. The incident reportedly occurred around 6 p.m. Reports so far indicate that the victim was at Strawn's Corner off East Street when he was reportedly approached by a man and subsequently shot multiple times. The victim was taken to hospital by private vehicle, where he's detained in serious condition tonight. Police are following significant leads into this matter. All week, we've been taking a look at the psychology behind crime and what head of the Center for Renewing Relationships, Dr. Wayne Thompson, summarizes the main issues to be. Tonight, Dr. Thompson deals with a factor which continues to show up in criminal matters. Here's Clint Watson.
We have committed a crime against the future of this country.
According to psychologist Dr. Wayne Thompson, when we consider that every year thousands of young people leave high school only with a leaving certificate, and when we take a closer look, we also see that more children are being born out of wedlock.
When we allow students to graduate from grade 12 who are illiterate cognitively, who are illiterate socially, and you wonder why crime is growing in this society, we need to have the same commitment to investing in human development like we have with buildings and roads. But because these things aren't tangible, see, Bahamians suffer from big eye syndrome. If we can't see it, then ain't nothing to it.
Dr. Thompson says oftentimes when developing lives, change is not immediately seen.
Because the change is internal. What you actually do is experience the change. If we can get a commitment over the next 15 years to truly invest in reshaping the way we think, the way we conduct ourselves, the way we go about sticking to standards before we allow students to graduate from school, it will truly then be better in the Bahamas, Clint.
Clint Watson, ZNS News.
Lawyers and judges will be guided by a new dress code when they appear in court in the months ahead. It's all due to a practice direction issued by Chief Justice Sir Michael Barnett to members of the legal community yesterday. Fern Carey has the details.
This is a document that will change the way judges and lawyers dress while in court. Chief Justice Sir Michael Barnett notifying members of the legal community of those changes yesterday. As of March 13th, lawyers appearing in Supreme Court will only be required to wear wigs on ceremonial occasions like the opening of the legal year, ceremonies for admission to the bar, and the commemorative sittings of the court. Meantime, attorneys appearing in open court will be required to wear dark clothing with black barrister gown, wing collar, and bands for men and collarettes or bands for women. And for all applications made in judges' chambers, lawyers will be required to wear dark clothing. These unexpected changes coming on the heels heels of calls from former Chief Justice Sir Burton Hall back in January, urging sweeping changes to the Bahamas' criminal justice system, including court dress. Sir Burton suggested that a move away from British judicial garments to a more European style of dress will help minimize the expenses on judges and lawyers who attend court regularly. Sir Burton also suggested that the taking of oaths in court be replaced with a solemn declaration or an oath. Meantime, judges in the criminal and civil courts will also be dressing down somewhat. Chief Justice Sir Michael Barnett noted in the practice direction to members of the legal community that justices presiding in both the criminal and civil courts will not be required to wear wigs, only their black gowns. Vern Carey, ZNS News.
A larger police force, a more structured and equipped defense force, and relief for taxi drivers are just some of the plans forecast under another 5 years of F&M leadership. The promises came from party leader Prime Minister Hubert Ingraham last night as he outlined to supporters and the country at large why the F&M remains the only choice for the welfare and growth of Bahamians and the further advancement of the country. Shanique Miller reports.
You know, for me, the privilege of office is the privilege of serving the Bahamian people.
And sometimes that privilege calls for making decisions that may chafe in the interim, but in the long run translates to better for the Bahamian people.
Everything we do to PL we criticize. But I would rather get criticized for doing something than for not doing nothing. If we'd listened to them, things would have been much worse in the Bahamas, because we'd have done little or nothing, just like they did when they were in office. They complained that we increased the national debt of the Bahamas. But listen to this. They're in the House of Assembly. They were voted there by constituencies. Every loan, every borrowing undertaken by the F&M government from May of 2007 up to now, except for one. That was the Airport Gateway Project, a $40 million loan. Every other one, the PLP voted for. Everyone. The PLP and the DNA man never voted no yet. Now the one they did vote against is the one that was bringing water to the eastern part of New Providence. That one they said no to. So if you live in the east, as you do, according to the PLP, you don't deserve the good water and the good quality water and the good water pressure that we're going to deliver for you.
On the hot-button New Providence infrastructure upgrade project, Prime Minister Ingraham charged that the PLP not only never got it started, but refused to take responsibility for letting the process drag on.
First of all, they tell the Bahamian people that the F&M brought foreigners here to build the road. Yeah? Now, how did we get the foreigners here? While they were in office, they went out to tender on 2 separate occasions, looking for foreigners to bid. Foreigners came, they picked up the papers, they looked, they drove around, and when it was time for the bid to come in, not one put a bid in on 2 separate occasions. For 5 years, the PLP couldn't get nobody to bid.
Are you serious?
Dead serious. And before they left office, they put the road out to bid. The bids came in weeks after we came to office. And a foreigner won the bid.
As the PLP continues to promote its Urban Renewal 2.0 program, Mr. Ingraham says his administration's efforts have more than doubled that, and at the same time kept busy renewing and transforming the city of Nassau. Having already delivered for straw vendors, Mr. Ingraham then spoke directly to taxi drivers.
All of you taxi drivers and bus drivers who've been leasing plates for $500 a month, from all these people who's sitting down collecting. When the F&M win, we will give you your plate.
Crime and shoring up resources in the continued fight is also a priority. Not only are there plans through a 5-year mission to increase the fleet and manpower of the Royal Bahamas Defence Force.
Next time in office, we're going to increase the number of constables. The number of constables, I say, Minister of National Security, by 400. The number of constables by 400 to walk the beat in Nassau. And we'll continue our efforts to reinstate a structured police organization while keeping the police on the beat in your neighborhoods.
Shanique Miller, ZNS News.
Last night, outgoing Member of Parliament and Deputy Leader of the Free National Movement, Deputy Prime Minister Brent Simonet, passed the party's torch to the 2012 candidate Hubert Chipman. Chipman has been canvassing the constituency and engaging in a cleanup and restoration campaign, and he told supporters last night his primary focus will be on having a crime-free constituency and that'll begin with a focus on the family.
We will establish parenting classes. Bearing in mind, in these days, parents come in nearly all ages. We will design age-appropriate sessions. As the village of St. Anne's, we will all join hands to raise our children. Not only will you look out for your own young children, but those of your neighbors, the strange child who seems to be wandering aimlessly in the street. If you see a child accosted in the street, you must make your presence known. St. Anne's, together, we will cut the legs from under the aimlessness that make our young people vulnerable to criminal activities.
Well, still to come in the Bahamas tonight, the once free call that will now cost you. That story is still to come.